Hello and welcome to this course on Advanced Service Manager. We know that most users have used this at some point. This is an opportunity for them to get a more complete picture of the tool. The Service Manager performs various tasks. First, it provides a greater level of control over services. Each service points to one of the technical components of an instance: database, server processes, agents, web server, analytics, and more. Service Manager provides interactive control over these components and can even auto-start them at boot. Service Manager is designed to issue local system commands to start and stop these services locally. Service Managers also communicate with the server's communication process to handle remote events. A simple example is this: if you turn off an agent in AWI's agent list, the server's CP issues the instruction to the local Service Manager to perform the task, which is why the agent's Service Manager link is important. The Service Manager has a simple file system with three main configuration files: the INI file, a command file, and a definitions file. We'll explore all three. Interactive control is done in the Service Manager's interface called a Dialog. This Dialog is a networked interface able to access both local but also remote Service Managers. This means control can be centralized. However, the Dialog is only supported on Windows. This is a Dialog window connected to a host called 192.168.1.50, although you could also use the host name. Immediately you see that this host has the AA server, database, and application server because they're listed as services. Each service has a context menu which shows a service's properties, the system command pointing to the path and executable of that component so it can be started and stopped. It also provides auto-start capabilities so that the service will start automatically when the system boots. The Dialog is just a networked interface. The Service Manager per se is a technical program on this host that controls local components. The course relies on a simplified three-host instance: one server on a Unix host and two agents, Windows and Unix. We know what the Service Manager's capabilities are, so we need to show how to set this up. Here's the list of capabilities and constraints on a conceptual level. We'll demo this later. A Service Manager controls local services. For the two hosts, it's the system agent, and for the server, it's everything. Service Manager provides interactive service management, in other words, the ability to start and stop a component manually by ways of the SM Dialog, although this capability is available on Windows platforms only. We'll explain some of the networking and communication aspects of the Service Manager. Service Manager can be configured to auto-start at boot. Service Manager can also auto-start each service. When you boot the system, it's able to start each component so that we don't have to do this manually. Note that Service Manager communication should be secure. CAPKI is already configured. If we install CAPKI after starting the agents or Service Manager, then we have to restart these processes. Let's see how these capabilities translate at the technical level. We have two configuration files for service management. The first is the Service Manager's INI file, which is invoked when the Service Manager is started. The second is the SMD or definitions file, which stores definition information for each component. For example, this might be the name and path of the executable associated with a server process. Service Manager takes this information and defines a matching service so that it can manage that component. In addition to the Service Manager, we have the Dialog, which is a simple UI to give users interactive control over those services. The Dialog has its own INI file and only exists on Windows. Service Manager provides centralized control of services. For example, users are able to stop an agent from the web interface without logging in locally. The local Service Manager ultimately carries out the shutdown, so the instruction must move through the server CP and communication is required. The Service Manager therefore requires a port, which by default is set to 8871. It's possible to auto-start Service Manager. On Windows, we create a Windows service, and Automic provides a script called Automic SM for Unix. Finally, in order to auto-start services, we have a dedicated file called the SMC or command file.